So it's a really wide scholarship, covers both tuition, stipends, covers flights, and some pocket money when you're flying, and arrival allowances and stuff like that. So it practically covered everything I needed to study in the UK, and I don't think I.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ola, as you know, and on this channel, I provide tips on how you can study abroad through application material, funding details, and even visa interview. And particularly starting last year, y'all know that, I've been trying to explore other countries aside from the US. So today we have an important guest on the channel, and, they'll be talking about, kind of like studying in the UK, and now you can do that for free. So I'm just going to give them a little bit of time to introduce themselves to us, and then we'll jump right into the video. So yeah, over to you.
All right, yes. My name is Namdi Tamino Oji. I'm a Nigerian, right? And I studied in the UK between 2022 and 2023, and I'm back in Nigeria. Yes, so back to work in Nigeria. I studied at Cranfield University. I studied a course called Advanced Digital Energy Systems because of my passion for the energy industry and technology as well. And yeah, my undergrad was in civil engineering, and currently work as an engineer. So yeah, I think that's a little about me. Anything else you'd like to know?
I think that's it. But I know you kind of said where you worked in Nigeria. Where are you currently working? Let me know if you feel comfortable with sharing. Where do you work?
Not very comfortable, but yeah, I work in the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
It's an investment portfolio company. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
All
do
right.
investments in oil and gas generally.
All
Mhm.
right. I'll be sending you something so that you can invest in me.
No problem.
Because
No
it's like you
problem.
are the owner of, like Olowo Nigeria, but how the day used to call you people. All
I
right.
wish you, I wish, I wish.
All right. So I feel like you kind of already answered the first part of the first question, but probably I would want you to go more
Okay.
into telling us a little bit about your educational background. I know you kind of already told us the course you studied, but also if you can tell us GPA wise, just so that people know if they can relate to you. And when I say GPA wise, I'm not saying, oh, tell us the exact GPA. You know how we classify it in Nigeria, first class,
Mm-hmm.
student, whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your educational background.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, I studied civil engineering at the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. That was 2011. I graduated 2016. Yeah, I graduated with second class upper. By the time I saw that first class wasn't going to happen, I told myself at least finish with a GPA above 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
And I just did that. I just did that because I had my eyes on scholarships. And for some reason, I had felt like, scholarships would always look at your GPA,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to be high, even if you have a second class upper.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even with that, when I came out, I wasn't still very confident to apply for scholarships, even though I was applying and getting rejections. I felt like, oh, okay, maybe it's because my GPA isn't so good. But then I started to see people with second class who I even did better than getting scholarships. And that made me to even believe in myself yet again. And I started to put a lot of effort into it again. So yeah, that's what my education background was like, and how it had played a role, in me getting to get a scholarship at the end of the day.
Yeah, I feel like 4.0 is not a bad GPA, oh, please.
No, it's not. I think it's not bad.
And something is
I
not
had
a
to, I
bad.
had to encourage somebody recently who had a 4.2 something. I'm like, what? You're upset that you had 4.2? Don't worry, you did excellently well because I think it's to some extent it places you at the spot where people know that you actually tried. You actually
Mhm.
tried. If you're
Because
not if you're
that's
not
first
the
class,
if you're
yeah.
not the overly smart person, yeah, if you're not the overly smart person, you know that yes, you still tried. And
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian schools can have a lot of other factors that affect you making a first class or not. So
Yeah.
it's a very good way for anybody who has that. You should pat yourself at the back.
Okay, good. All right, the second question is, can you tell us a brief overview of the scholarship you got?
Okay, so brief overview. It can be brief because the scholarships are they are wide. Okay, so
Okay.
I got the Chevening Scholarship. I
Mm-hmm.
got the Chevening Scholarship and a little history. I'd stay applying for scholarships since my final year. I started applying for master's scholarships since my final year, and it took me 6 years till I finally got one. So these things don't come easily, right? Some people applied in their NYSC and they got one, so their stories are different. But yeah, I got the Chevening Scholarship in 2022. It was my second time applying. I had applied first in 2019, I think, or 2020, I think the COVID year. And then I didn't apply the next year. I waited and then applied in 2021 against the 2022 scholarship. And then that's the one I got. Chevening is a UK, it's a British scholarship. It's sponsored by the British government alongside the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. That's the chief sponsor. They also sponsor two other scholarships, being the Commonwealth scholarships and the Marshall Scholarship. The
Mm-hmm.
Marshall Scholarship is for those in the US. The Commonwealth, which is more popular, I think everybody knows about Commonwealth. They have master scholarships, they have PhD scholarships as well. They have the shared scholarship and then they have the direct one. So they are all open to Nigeria to apply for. So, but I got the Chevening scholarship. I think they had about 1,400 plus students from all over the world, from about 156 countries thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really wide scholarship, covers both tuition, stipends, covers flights, and some pocket money when you're flying and arrival allowances and stuff like that. So it practically covered everything I needed to study in the UK, and I don't think I needed to spend so much of my money except on excesses,
Mm-hmm.
shopping and stuff like that. So yeah,
Okay.
that's about it.
All right, thank you. So can you tell us how the application process was like for you? Like, what did you have to do? And also, probably when you are talking, you can also let us know if you had to like apply for admission first before scholarship, or once you apply for the scholarship, it automatically means you would also get admission.
Okay, beautiful. So someone actually asked me that question recently, someone who had applied to Chevening, and I'll just start from the beginning. You asked about the application process, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Chevening applications open I think August,
Mm-hmm.
open sometime in August during the year, and then they'll close in November. So you have like 2 months, August, September, October, about 3 months to apply. So that's a long time. But I would normally advise people start early because the good thing about the scholarship is every year the question they're asking you is the same thing. Just write 4 essays on the same things, like it doesn't change. So I think that's one thing that even makes it much easier. You write 4 essays, 500 words, not too much.
Mm-hmm.
You need to write 4 essays on your leadership capabilities. You need to write an essay on your career plan. You need to write an essay on the study universities you want to study in, and
Mm-hmm.
then you need to write an essay on networking. So those 4 essays are what you need to write. Once you go on the Chevening website and you watch a lot of YouTube videos that I've talked about it, you literally have an idea of what the essays are like and how to craft yours. Understand? So you need to write those essays. Then you need 2 years work experience because they'll ask for your work experience. Then you need references. You need two people who would refer you. What else? So those are basically things you need. Once you have this, you can go ahead, fill out the application online, write your essays, get somebody to proofread them for you. That's very important because reviews are very key. Get somebody to proofread your essays for you, help you correct grammatical errors. If you can reach out to former scholars as well, you can ask them to read your essays for you. I did read for some people, and it just improves your chances anyways. It's not going to guarantee anything, but it just improves your chances. And then you go ahead, fill out the application. You won't be asked to provide references when you apply, but you just provide the names of people who you'll be asking for your references. You won't be asked to submit an admission letter as well, but if you have gotten one, fine. It doesn't determine anything. It doesn't increase or reduce your chances.
Okay.
But you can always just put in those things if you have. Or if you don't have, one thing you must do is to choose the schools you want to go to, 3 schools. So even if you've not applied to them, you need to make sure you have checked the courses, check that you meet the requirements, right, to apply for those courses. Say, for instance, a Cambridge or an Oxford. And certain courses require you to have a first class. For somebody like me, I couldn't apply to those courses. Why? I don't have a first class. So it won't pay me if I went ahead to put those courses just because I like them, I like the school,
Yeah.
put those courses in my application. And then when they called me for an interview, I'll say, oh, I didn't meet the requirements for this course. I'll just be considered, right? So you need to have checked the school, check the courses, ensure that you meet the requirements for admission, and then you can put them in there. Because you would also write an essay about them. I think I mentioned that you need to write an essay about why you're studying this, why you want to study this course in this particular school, and all the and so on and so forth. So you have to do that. Get the schools ready and the courses ready. So if you can, if the applications are open, that's because by the time you're applying, remember you're applying between August and November for the next year. So some schools may not even have their applications open by then. So you just have to put those in. And then by December, January, applications will be open. You can start to apply. By February, they would release names of people who have been progressed to the interview stage. And not to scare anybody, but a lot of, they could receive about 40 to 50,000 applications in a year. And at the end of the day, just about 4,000 people get invited for interviews. So let's say about 10% or so. But yes, you'll be reached out to if you get selected for interviews. And I don't know if to say the interview is easier or harder, but they'll normally tell you if you scaled through to the interview phase, that means they are interested in you, and you should feel good. You should just show them that you are the same person who wrote those essays, you
Yeah.
know. So once you can show that you're the person who wrote those essays and that passion is there, they would most likely consider you, right? And they would get back to successful applicants after the interviews. They'll get back to successful applicants like June. June towards the ending of June. And some people are normally put on the waiting list, right? So if, for instance, because people actually reject Chevening
Scholarship.
Scholarship. Why? Yeah, because you have to come back to Nigeria once you're done. So some people actually reject it because they don't want to come back when they're
Oh,
done.
I
So
probably just
they
got
go
it
for
out.
other options. Yes, because they get other offers as well. And I know someone who got Erasmus Mundus and decided to take that because it will allow them to do a course in 2 countries, instead of one, and then they don't have to come back. And yes, so people do rejection offers. So when the select people and they stand out the offers, if some people reject, then those who are on the waiting list will get called up. And at that time, you should have had your admission. At the stage of your interview, they will ask you if you have gotten admission from any of the 3 schools. So by your interview date, which is sometime in March, April, you need to have gotten an admission. No, you need to have shown proof that you have actually applied to your school.
Okay.
And if you've gotten admission, yes, you should. You should also have gotten your references by then. You need to submit them before your interview or on your interview day. That's the latest. I don't know if it has changed by this year because they may decide not to have you wait until your interview day these days. Then, so yeah, I've talked about the admission. I've talked about the references, and yes, so you need to get all that, and then once you're selected in June, you will be notified, and then every other process getting to the UK starts. I think that's basically what happens with the Chevening Scholarship. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. But I have like follow-up questions to like some of the things you said.
Okay.
So has there ever
Okay.
been an instance where somebody got the scholarship, but the person didn't get admission? Have you ever?
Yes. If you get the scholarship and you can't get an admission, unfortunately, you have to lose the scholarship. Um, but some people who UK has so many schools, but Chevening has partner schools that,
Oh,
they prefer to work with because some schools actually, when they partner with Chevening, what they do is that they waive the whole tuition for you, and Chevening won't get to even pay them anything.
yeah.
Some schools waived part of it. So my school waived about 4,000 or so. And then Chevening just had to pay the remaining, I think, 17,000 pounds. So yes, they have partner schools like that. So Chevening would prefer to work with those schools because it saves them some money. But if you can't secure an admission from any of those schools, and then it's getting late, and then you finally get an admission from one school that is just not one of their partner schools, they will admit you to that school and reach out to the school and pay everything they need to pay
Okay.
because they have promised you that it's a full tuition scholarship, right? So they just prefer their partner schools, and when push comes to shove and you have a good reason for going to a different school. One of my colleagues, fellow scholars, had to, write a justification as to why she was choosing a different school. And they let her go, they let it fly. They
Okay.
sponsored it and all that. Same thing with MBAs. They have a cap for doing an MBA. If you're going to do an MBA, because generally MBAs are more expensive. So if
Yeah.
you're going to do an MBA, you may have to pay some extras because they will cap the school fees they can pay for MBAs. Yeah. So yeah, you would need to actually ensure. That's why I said you have to ensure that you meet the eligibility requirements, for the school. Because if it gets to a point where you can't secure admission in a particular school, or they are delaying, when you get the offer and you reach out to your program officer to say, oh, this school I applied to, I meet all the requirements, they haven't given me an admission, this, that. Give you a letter they'll ask you to send your offer letter to the school so that the school can consider. And most times, when schools see that you have a Chevening offer, they go ahead and they just give you
Yeah.
an admission straight up. So you would, it's a rare occurrence that somebody has to lose a scholarship because they didn't get an admission, but it definitely happens. I've had stories where it
Okay.
happens.
So another question is like, what does the scholarship cover? Is it just tuition? Do they pay for your visa? Do they pay for your flight? Do they give you monthly stipend? Or it's just, okay, we are just paying for your tuition?
Okay, like I said earlier, they cover practically everything. They
Okay.
pay for your visa. The visa
Mhm.
is covered by the secretariat. They pay for your TB test, even your TB test you do at IOM is reimbursed when you get to the UK.
Wow,
They pay
nice.
for your flights. They pay
Cool.
for your flights. Except if you have extra luggage, you want to carry the whole world. They won't cover they won't cover for your extra luggage.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but they give you some what's it called, arrival allowance, so to say.
Okay.
That is supposed to cater for maybe if you need to take a connecting flight. If you land at London, your school is in, say, Scotland. If you land at London and you need to take a connecting flight, not
Okay, good. And so, like, even with the scholarship, do you have like expectations that, oh, since you got the scholarship, like you can't work or you can just do your thing? Or even as you are getting stipend, can you decide that, okay, I also want to work so that I can make more money?
yeah. So with your visa, you get 20 hours of work time per week.
Mm-hmm.
20 hours per week. I hope I'm correct. 20 hours per week. Yes, you get 20 hours per week to do part-time jobs. And you can, most times you can do up to exactly 20 hours. But
Mm-hmm.
my school advised you shouldn't do more than 18 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you would most likely just do between 16 to 18 hours per week. And that would be very okay if you
Okay.
get to work. I think the minimum wage keeps going up. Now it's at about 10.4, 10.5 pounds.
Okay. Not bad.
I did some jobs. I worked with the school as a student ambassador, and they paid 10.9 thereabouts. So for when we did, it wasn't an everyday thing. So once in a while they have events.
Okay.
So some weeks you get four hours, some weeks you get 10 hours on that job. But a lot of people did some other jobs to work at the warehouse. I
Mhm.
did. could work at a Tesco store. I did. Could work at the McDonald's. You could work at different jobs, and but they will check your work restrictions and
Yeah.
be sure that they aren't assigning you more than 20 hours per week. So if you want to, yes, you can work.
Yeah. And I feel like that is what makes the UK different from the US, because the US, the restriction is you cannot work off campus. Like if you're a student in the US, you are only permitted to work that 20 hours, you're only permitted to get on campus job, which I feel like working at the dining and all of
Mhm.
so yeah. Okay, so something else is this scholarship, does it cover like for every course or is just for like specific courses? Is it for like every course? Can every something and RA, can they apply for it?
Okay, so when it comes to the courses, you need to be able to tie it to a development goal of the FCDO
Okay.
generally, just to help you, get the scholarship because when you get to your essays and even after your essays you get to your interview, you'll be able to convince them that this is what you have a passion for and this is how it ties to development. Well, I have seen very, very weird courses I didn't think about, but they were able to tie it to development and they were able to get scholarship. So
Okay.
talk about there's a lady who's a coach, sports. She went to study, I think, sports something, and
Mm,
she got scholarship. People who study some sciences gets a scholarship. So what I didn't see a lot of the engineers going to study engineering courses, right? So I don't know. I had to ask them, why that was the case. But they said, oh yes, it's something that they are trying to encourage as well. So it covers every course as long as you're able to tie it, even if it's music, even if it's theater arts, even if it's whatever, how irrelevant or relevant you think it is, as long as you're able to tie it to,
mhm.
how that brings about development. I mean, anything can bring about development if
Yeah.
you ask me. Even if it's parenting, you're going to study, even if it's guidance counseling, you're
Yeah.
going to study.
Even
Everything ties to
yes.
development. Even if it's makeup, you know, makeup and the beauty, anything, just be able to tie it to development, be able to show that you have the capacity to use this to develop your local community and your country in general, and you'd have a fighting chance.
Good. So another question is, does this scholarship guarantee, like, what are the chances for the visa if you have this scholarship? Because I know in the US, like, have you ever had someone that got scholarship and their visa got rejected?
Not for Chevening or Commonwealth.
Okay.
Except it's TB. If you test positive for tuberculosis,
Okay.
then you won't be granted a visa.
Okay.
If you maybe maybe if you have a criminal record, I don't know.
Okay.
But very extreme cases,
Okay.
if every other thing checks out fine, I don't see any reason they reject your visa because first of all, um, the Home Office would be advised that Chevening scholars are being sent for, they even helped us get dates, when dates were difficult to get dates for biometrics. They helped us, talk to the guys at the visa office and they
Okay.
got us, slots to go do our interviews. So, not interviews, it was actually just biometrics. So yeah, I've not really seen a case where the visa got denied, except it's an extreme case. I haven't heard of any. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I know you mentioned something about work experience. So can someone, because I know you also said like some people apply during their NYSA. So I was wondering how they got the work experience. Is it from like the internship? Like, can we regard internship as work experience? Or like all these, I know people now do work and study or whatever. Can we also like consider that as like work experience? Or even NYSC, yes. Can we also consider NYSC as work experience if it is
Yes, totally. Volunteering also classifies as work experience as long as you can justify how that was actually work. If you had the supervisor, if you had the reporting line, if you
Mhm.
had deliverables, if you had objectives to meet, if you had targets, if you had things that you achieve, if you can quantify it. So volunteering calculates as work experience as well. Um, what else did you mention? Internship. Yeah, internship, very, very valid. You can
Okay.
also use your internship as part of your work experience. You can also use what you did in your NYC as long as you work, trust me. It's all work experience. So you just need to be able to, it has to be useful work experience to you for you
Mhm.
to be able to put it out there because the whole idea of having work experience is to show that you have actually worked in an organized setting and you're able to interact with people because the Chevening team is it's hovers a lot around networking and using professional networks to make change in society. So they just want to be able to assure themselves that they are training people who have a good understanding of what the professional background, looks like
Yeah.
and how to use those networks effectively. So
Okay, good.
yeah, internships, volunteering experiences, they all can tie. Just you need to, there's a way they calculate it in terms of hours, in terms of days, in terms of weeks. So that calculation just has to be up to 2 years and you can meet that requirement.
Okay, good. And I know you said something about like once you get the scholarship, you have to go back home. Like we can't even get like 1 year of like postgraduate work opportunity or like once you are done.
No. Yeah, once you're done, once your visa, once your residence permit expires, you have to go back home.
Okay.
So for me, my residence permit was valid up until February, 3rd of February 2024. So but my course finished in September.
Okay.
So I could stay up until,
February.
the ending of January, February. So a lot of my folks, other folks came back in February, in January, sorry. And because we all had similar timeline on
Mhm.
our residence permits because we arrived at the same time and
Okay.
we are all studying 1 year courses. And that's another thing about Chevening. It has to be a 1 year course.
Okay.
They don't sponsor 2 year courses, they don't sponsor 18 months courses. So the course has to be rounded up within 1 year.
Okay.
If you have extensions, say maybe you didn't finish your thesis, something went wrong and you have to stay another 2 or 3 months, you may stay those months without stipends,
Mm-hmm.
mm, because they will just pay stipends for 12 months
Okay.
or 11 months rather. So yeah. So that because by the time you're done, another set has come in. So they
Yeah.
don't start paying you again when
Yeah.
another set is already there. So you need to try and make sure you round up everything in the 12 months. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's good. Pretty much, I
you
think
have
we
to come back.
all the questions. So you didn't have to write any exam. You only needed to write essay and make sure that like the schools you were selecting aligned with your interest. And also aligned, like you also meet their requirements because it's not just by because sometimes the school align with your interest, but you don't meet their requirements. Because I mean, and I feel like we already know how the last question is, but we'll still ask. So how has life been for you after the scholarship?
Hmm. Well, interestingly, right, we went on a scholarship on the scholarship at the time Nigeria was transitioning, in terms of the elections.
Mhm.
And so definitely a lot of things changed between when we left and then when we came back. We were in the UK during the election and we tried to monitor what was going on in the country just to, manage your expectations when you come back. And so coming back, it was tough, I must say. It was tough getting back into life here, coming back from where you're sure the bus comes at 7 o'clock where you want to go somewhere, you know. Even
Yeah.
if it doesn't come, it's like one out of 100 occurrences, right? But these things these things sort of, change your psyche about life and all that. You can plan when you want to go here, where you want to go there. You have lights, 24/7. You don't worry about network. Yeah. So for so many months, I wasn't ever worried about, I could use my phone up until it goes totally flat, then I'll just go and plug it to charge. But now you have to, once you're seeing your battery going, let me
Yeah.
charge this phone
Yeah.
before they take the lights, you know. So you have to plan to make a lot of adjustments when you return. Try and make yourself as when with the little funds you may come back with, you prioritize making yourself as comfortable as
Yeah.
possible. Um, Invest in things like maybe getting an inverter that keeps you with power as much as possible.
Mhm.
Invest in good gadgets. Invest in good connectivity, internet connectivity, and stuff like that, just so that you can have close to the kind of life you came from. Because it also boosts your productivity. It
Mhm.
also helps you to be a lot more productive, to think better, to
Yeah.
do better, because the essence of going for the masters is so that you can be better, you can
Mhm.
increase your productivity, you can do more, you can go out and meet people and talk
Yeah.
confidently, because it gives you a platform, it gives you something to talk about. It
Yeah.
makes people see you differently and
Yeah.
want to have conversations with you. So you should actually make yourself feel that way, and it would pay off, it would pay off. Well, yeah, it wasn't easy getting back into this. And then over the past few months, it's just been 6 months, 5 months since I've been back. And things have changed so much
The way
within this 5 months. When you go for the scholarship, always have in mind that you're coming back so that
Mhm.
you don't start to envy and wish and get
Yeah.
tempted, because you get tempted to do a lot of shady things to
Yeah.
try and stay back, remain faithful.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
You just have to be in your country for 2 years at least, or not work in. You have to not work in the UK or not live in the UK
But
for just two
but you can
years.
travel anywhere else. Like you can
You
decide
can
to
still
travel
travel to the UK.
for
You can still go to the UK. I can go to the UK and spend 3 months. I
for
can
visit.
work. I
Yeah.
can spend
But
three
can you
months
work
visiting, doing
elsewhere?
other
Like, can
things.
you decide now that okay, maybe I got a job in the US? Can you travel to the US? Or can you decide that okay, I want to do a
Um,
PhD in the US?
if it has no bearing on your conditions, you can do that. You can do that because what it means for you is that you got this opportunity, and it doesn't stop you from doing what you're supposed to be doing back in your country, does it? Right? So, but the UK doesn't want to take that responsibility to say that, we brought these people to study in the UK so that they can go back and develop their country, and then we allowed them to stay here and not do
And they are developing our
what they
own, but
had
they are not
planned,
developing their
what they
country.
had planned to go back to do. So it's like it's part of the funds they say they are using to develop Nigeria.
Yeah.
So they train people from Nigeria to go back and develop Nigeria. So you can't say you're developing Nigeria when the people you trained are in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's just a policy thing. But I don't think it stops you from working, outside Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I have a few colleagues who are working currently.
All right. Well, thank you. We've now come to the end of this video. Please do well to put it in the comment section and say thank you, Unamdi, because I did not pay him more, but he decided to, willingly come.
You'll still pay now.
I'll pay. I will pay. We'll talk about it in behind the scene. So yeah, so just say
All
thank you,
right.
Namdi. And if you have any question, feel free to
Yeah,
comment section. And yeah, I would ask him and then we'll find a way of like getting back to you. So thank you so much
sure.
for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, before we go, do you have like a final word for anyone that is planning to get the scholarship? I know you've advised them, but do you have like a final word for them?
Okay. In terms of final words, I'm just gonna say believe in yourself. A lot of people don't want to apply for this scholarship because they feel they have nothing to say or nothing to offer.
Mhm.
I also felt like that. And I had to dig deep into, the little things I've done to say, okay, how much impact can this little thing I've done create? And
Yeah.
I was surprised that when I did that, I was able to find, how much impact that
Mhm.
little things that we do. Some of us do very little things and we think it ends there. Even
Yeah.
as little as, coaching a young boy to write his JAMB exam and
Mhm.
make a huge impact. So you write about it in your essay and they're impressed. So believe in yourself, think about the little things you have done. And if there's none, maybe you should start doing something. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you can join a volunteer organization. If you say, okay, I don't want to apply this year, let me apply next year. So, but this year, and I think I didn't talk about it, but after my first application, and I had to now go and check out some other people, what they have done, see what they. I started to make, practical efforts to get myself into a little more, organizations. I registered for some professional bodies, got active in some organizations, just to do something that I could talk about in my essays and in my interviews. And so the next time I was writing my essays, I had a lot to write about. So something you can also do. So believe in yourself. If you feel you don't have so much you have done, maybe you should start to do something so that you can have something to write about. You still have a lot of time between now and August when the applications would get open. So
Yeah.
why not do something between now and then so that you can talk about it in your essay, and that would just be nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I really feel that, and I think that would be. I feel like that is also similar to like my final word, and it would be that if it was easy, trust me, everybody would be doing it. So that is why it is not easy, but you just need to push yourself. Because I know, like, even though mine was not like really applying for external scholarship, but I know how I was like brooding about it. I'm like, oh, am I even qualified? Like some of the schools I applied to, like, just add 8 people in the cohort, and I'm like, 8 people, how am I even going to like make when I applied to Miami, the cohorts on their website said 8 to 10. I remember I didn't want to apply then. It was my friend that pushed me. My friend was like, do you know that it will actually hurt you when you apply and you don't get in? Like, or you see other people getting in and you'll be like, oh, I didn't apply, I could have applied. So I'm just like, okay, I'll just apply. If I don't get it, that's fine. I eventually got it. So always
Yes.
believe in yourself. I think that is very important. Believe in yourself, believe in your ability, and always remember that if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Nobody would not want to study with scholarship. So, yeah.